Hello everyone, and welcome to Campus Channel. We're coming to you live right now from Paris, where it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Joining us today are ESCP Europe, Europe's oldest business school, who are currently recruiting for their Masters in European Business program. It's a unique opportunity for you to get to meet this famous program, ask your questions, and get the right information so you can make up your own mind. Are you ready? Because here we go. Joining us today, we have Professor Francesco Rattalino, the Director of Studies at the Turin campus, and Laura Davac, one of the students in the Masters of European Business program. First of all, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
If you're okay, we'd like to get a little context for this session. We're going to give you 2 minutes to present your program. It's called The Speech.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before we start answering your question, just a very brief introduction. I'm Francesco Rattalino. I'm Professor of Strategy Execution and Management Control. I'm Italian, as you can tell, and I'm also Director of Studies of the Turin campus. Before I joined academia in 2005, I gained extensive professional international experience in the Netherlands, in the US, and the UK. And I'm here with Laura Davac. Maybe, Laura, you want to say a few words about you?
Yes, hello. I am half German, half Italian. I I did my high school in France, then moved to the Netherlands to do my degree in at Maastricht University. I then started working in Germany for 1.5 years, moved to the US, and started the MEB program in Paris in September.
Okay, last week we had another live session hosted by Campus Channel. Pascal Martin-Saint-Etienne, the director of the program, who is French, was here. Casey Browning, a student of the MEB program from the US, was here. And just in 2 weeks, 4 nationalities, 4 different stories were represented. This is ESCP. We are a young, dynamic international business school. Always ahead of its time. We've been the first to be established as a business school, 1819. We were the first to believe in the European project, European Union, 1973, but we're not an old school. Our dean, Eduardo Dusson, is 44. All our associate deans are in their early 40s. I'm 42. Maybe I look younger, I hope. Our students are all young, like Laura. And so you can say that we are deeply rooted in the Grande École system, but we are young, dynamic, international. Thanks to all our international partners, we have more than 100 international partners, our 5 campuses, and this is why we are highly ranked by the Financial Times. We are the 10th business school in Europe. We are number 2 for the MEB program in the world, and we are number 21 in the world for the Executive MBA. The MEB is not ranked, so I cannot give you any ranking, but if it were ranked, I'm sure it would have been within the first 10-15 best master in management in the world. Why? Because it's SAMBA accredited, because it's unique blend of academic content and practical content delivered through, case study methodology, company consultancy project, business games, and last but not least, the international opportunity our students can gain from our 5 campuses and 4 partners that can deliver additional degree for the MEB. I think I said already enough for the introduction, so we can answer your questions.
It's quite thorough and clearly very internationally focused. All right, guys, you know the rules. It's our turn to ask you the questions. It's the face-to-face.
Dernier manche. 15.
Remember, we're coming to you live right now. It's a unique experience to meet the ESCP Europe School to get your questions answered. I'm just here to make sure that they say the right answers, but you ask the questions. Let's begin.
I'm going to maybe answer the first one. Laura, what do you think is the greatest strength of the MEB according to your own experience? Well, well, there are several strengths, but the most important is definitely the difference in backgrounds of the students there. So you have, on one hand, the international backgrounds. I mean, in my class, there are French, Italian, Russian, Indian, Moroccan people, really from everywhere. And also from the background from those people, because nobody of them really did business before. They have either done a law degree or are engineers or have worked in all kinds of different works. And since you do have a lot of group studies and group work to do, we really learn to be with each other, to work with each other, and know how to handle the differences. And this is one of the biggest strengths, I think, of the MEB.
Now, you mentioned people that come from all over the world who are coming to study, particularly European business. Is that helpful that you're learning it together, or is it a little bit confusing because you've got multiple people coming from different places that are not Europe?
Well, I think the European is more focused on the maybe on the 5 campuses. The business we do learn. I mean, maybe I started a bit wrong. The European meant that we mix that.
Okay.
People from all over, and it's interesting to work with people from different backgrounds. And when we work later on, we will definitely have to deal with those people who have different cultural backgrounds. Let it be an Italian and German or an Indian and French people. So learning to do this kind of work already now is absolutely amazing.
Perfect. Go to the next question.
Are you only targeting students with 1 or 2 year professional experience? Well, the answer is yes. We are targeting students that already gained some early career professional experience. So students with no professional experience should not apply to this master. So the answer is.
Yeah.
And Laura, you mentioned that you had some experience.
So
before.
from my point of view, I can just say that having worked for 2 years, it just adds a lot to the program, because you kind of get other things out of it, and more you really target what you want out of the program. And also, it is more interesting to work with to have students in your class who've already had some work experience because of the maturity. So I would think this program is really good for people who already have at least 1 or 2 years of experience.
And Francesco, can you tell us a little bit about that experience? Is it primarily people who are looking for things in business, or could the professional experience come from a different sector?
No, the professional experience should come from different sector, because if I can, I see the next question is, please, what kind of students do you target? Which goes hand in hand with the experience. We're actually targeting students that don't already gained or have business studies or business related experience. So why that? Because we want to build on the experience that our students gained in different fields, and give them managerial studies they will need to become a manager and to grow in their careers. So the background must be different from business studies, and the experience in terms of work can be anything. We had lawyers, we had people that study pharmacy, we had philosophists, we had people that study literature and that did some working experience as a translator and things like that. But then they wanted maybe to enter into the marketing, more on the creative side. Google, for instance, is targeting this kind of people. So if these people, they can combine their study, their little experience of 1 or 2 years, with management studies at the MEB, they will be very appealing for big multinational companies, because they will be around it.
Is that the same logic that you apply to people's experience having been outside of Europe? Because we obviously are talking about the masters in European business. Is that the same logic that you take to people who have the experience that it's not related to Europe per se?
Yes, the logic is pretty much the same. Of course, when you go and evaluate an application form, you need to have some experience of what are the studies in Russia or what they are in the US. So, we really carefully look at the application forms, and so that we can adjust a little bit our evaluation. But the way we look at the students, at the applicants, is exactly the same.
Great. Let's move to the next question.
How important is the academic level to apply? Thanks for your answer. Of course it's important, because academic level is important in life. Let's imagine that we try to apply the same logic that big multinational firms or company would use to recruit people. So it's really unlikely that a company like Vodafone or P&G would recruit a student with a very bad academic history. Okay, so this is pretty much the answer to that. And nevertheless, we look at the complete application. Okay, so in the application there is the academic performance, there is the working experience, life experience, and the motivation. Why you want to do this master? Nevertheless, the academic level is important. Laura, what was your academic level? I mean, it's
well, I studied at the Master's University, and when I left, the GPA of 7 point something, I forgot. But I think in my case, what really helped was the work experience I gained, and also the international.
exactly.
International experience.
So, you know, we combine everything all together.
Now, is there, you mentioned paralleling this to companies in the way they hire and recruit. Sometimes they have filters that would immediately disqualify certain people. Is there a minimum GPA that you require, either on the record or off the record, that you kind of...
We don't apply filter. That is the only thing I can say to you. I know that some consultancy firm, they only get top 5%, and that's the filter. We do not do that because we look at the complete application forms, and also we try to have first contact with students. You know, so normally our agents, our people that in the recruiting office, they get in touch by telephone with the people, so they can get the feeling if the applicant is really motivated. So if your academic level is not a disaster, is a little bit above average, you can do it. But the motivation and the working experience, it's important.
Okay, great. Shall we continue to the next question?
Yes.
Laura, what made you choose this program? Well, in my previous working experience, I did a lot of operational work. So I was doing operational management first, and then business development for a German startup. And I really wanted to go a bit beyond that and find a more strategic and managerial aspect of what I could do later on. So this is why I decided to go back to uni after working for 2 years. Why this particular program? Well, there are several reasons. For one, I really love the idea that I could be in 2 different countries in only 1 year. It was important for me to not stay out of the professional life for too long. And it's a program that only lasts 1 year compared to other master programs or other MBAs who can last even up to 2 years. And then there's one element of this program that is amazing according to me. It's called the consultancy project. It's a project we do every semester where we are really put in the position of consulting a outside company. So in my case, for the first semester, I worked with a chocolate company, for example. It was amazing. It's a French chocolate company called Valrhona, and we had to establish a online communication strategy, which was absolutely amazing because it's not the kind of things you would usually do in an academic program. So for my CV also, I add, even though I'm studying right now, I still can add some professional experience to it. And those 2 elements, the moving into countries in 1 year and the CCP, were definitely the main reasons why I chose this program.
What other programs did you apply to before settling on ESCP?
Well, I'd only applied to this one, but I looked at a lot of other ones because I wasn't really sure whether I wanted to continue work or start a program. So I really made the choice between the MEB or between my job. But I looked at a lot of other programs, especially in France. And yeah, reasons why I didn't apply to them was first because either they were just in France and I really wanted this international perspective that was really, really important to me, or because the program was too long.
Okay, because it was too long. Now, Francesca, maybe you can expand on this consultancy project just briefly that she mentioned, getting to work with chocolate. Maybe not all the other opportunities are as sweet. Is it required of every student to do this?
Yes. Tony, I'm very glad you asked that because I would have had a little bit on the company consultancy project. Because although it sounds, company consultancy project should already tell what it's about, it's really unique to the MEB program. So it is mandatory for every student. I mean, we give ECTS credits. So we give a mark to that. So it's not just an add-on, it is mandatory. There are actually 2 company consultancy projects. One is the first semester and another one is second semester. So within the length of study of the MEB, before you get into the market, like for the internship, you already gain 2 small working experience as a consultant. How it works? The school has a lot of contacts with many companies. We select the best projects from the companies. The company has to commit to appoint a tutor, an internal tutor, which is going to be working with the students. We appoint a tutor, a professor from the school that is going to help the students in delivering what the company wants. The students work, let me say, 10, 12 weeks on their spare times. They work very hard. They get many contact with the companies. And then at the end of the company consultancy project, normally the student go in the building, in the headquarters of the company, and give a final presentation to normally top people. So sometimes it happened that they presented to executives, okay? And this is very valuable for the students, but it's very valuable for the company because it's not a fake project. It is something that the company needs, but in that moment, they don't want to spend a 50K for a fully fledged consultancy firm. They just need something. And I can tell you most of the projects then had some continuation in the company and they've been implemented. I have many examples of that with Ferrero, for instance, with Accenture. They actually did a market analysis, and with other, we did a project with Fiat. We did a project with Vodafone. It was very nice, this one, because the students basically created a system to guess the revenue that was generated in the shops of the franchise of Vodafone, so that they could, Vodafone could get a better bargaining power against this shop owner and franchisee. And it was a very good project. Some of the students that work in that consultancy project then got hired. So it's really something unique, which I really suggest to the students and the applicants right now to dig into it. Ask our alumni how was their consultancy project, and you will see that no other business school can offer that.
And you led into my final follow-up question regarding this one with the consultancy project, which is, does it turn into jobs often for students? You mentioned the Vodafone as an example where, yes, it did actually do that. Is that a fairly common occurrence? Is that kind of one of the goals of the program?
Okay. The company project do not lead to offer most of the time, okay? I can mention a couple of cases, one in Vodafone, another one in Ferrero. But normally it doesn't happen. Why? Because then the students move to the second semester, they do another consultancy project, then they look for the internship, but maybe in the long run, they keep the contacts with the company. And it happened because I know that some students, after a couple of years, then they got in contact with this company and then they entered the company. So the most important thing of a business school, not ESCP, any business school, is the network. The sooner our students start to build the network, the better. And the company consultancy project is one way, because it's not just a network, a cocktail party. They work with a company, and they can establish very, very good relationships. So, it's a good starting point, and they can make mistakes. That's the other very nice thing, because in a company consultancy project, they can make mistakes more than in an internship. During an internship, the level of acceptance of mistakes is lower, and when you get hired, there's no mistakes. Okay,
Did you
fired.
make any mistakes, Laura, in your?
Let me think. Well, not huge mistakes. I think maybe we did some mistakes in between our group in the beginning, but they didn't really affect to the customer, so that was fine. To the client, sorry.
Good. Let's move along.
I think this is for me. For students with a bachelor degree in business administration, general management plus international business, does the MEB give an added value to this undergraduate degree? To be honest with you, this is not the kind of student we targeted. Why? Because it's not giving the kind of added value you're looking for. Some of the modules you already covered it. Some of the experience in, dealing with case studies, you already know it. So, I wouldn't really recommend it. But if there are, I know that today there are some Italians that are watching this live chat. For the Italians, the Italian university are pretty much theoretical. So to you guys, it's going to add value, because the way business is taught in Italian university is completely different from the MEB. The MEB, we forget about the frontal lection classes. It's all action learning, So you will be learning not from books, but from cases. Not from reading, some chapters and stuff like that, but by doing. So in your case, it adds values. In other cases, it's not recommended.
Okay, for example. And what was your undergraduate degree?
I did an undergraduate degree in social science.
In social
so
science.
it was really broad. I did some marketing and some economics courses, but it was really theoretical. So I'm learning a lot of new things now.
Okay.
But I completely agree. I think you also notice the difference of those people who have done a business degree before. For them, sometimes the lessons are repetitive compared to what they've done before, and it's kind of a pity because the value added is just not that much for them.
Very, very clean question.
Okay, how do we select the campus where to study, please? Maybe Laura, you can talk about this, and then maybe I can add some more technical details.
Yeah, definitely. There are the 5 campuses in Europe which you can choose from, and then there are 4 partner universities internationally. Well, in my particular case, I absolutely wanted to spend some time in Paris because, even though I did my high school here, I've been away for over 6 years, so I really wanted to come back. And then I am going to London for my next semester, and I choose that because I am actually thinking about moving there in the long term and maybe trying to look for a job there. But the MEB is an opportunity to also discover completely other countries. So I have friends who go to Madrid, for example, who have never been there before, who want to learn more Spanish, and so this is why they choose those campuses. But in general, you're completely free in your choice. You don't have to start on one particular campus because you applied there, but you can also apply in Berlin and then go to Torino and Madrid. So this is really nice. One thing to consider, though, is that in the first semester is usually taught in the local language. So in Paris, for example, everything is taught in French, so you need to have a certain level of French before you start, of course. But otherwise, you're completely free in it, and that's the beauty of it. So
Is there any focus on the coursework that is specific to the different campuses, as far as you know?
Well, the program is completely integrated, as far as I know. So the courses are exactly the same in all the different countries. There might be a little difference in the teaching, though, because you have different teaching habits, maybe. I mean, I think the German way of teaching is a bit more theoretical than the English one. So this might be the only difference. But I think content-wise, it is pretty much the same. And that's also amazing because it's not. If you do an Erasmus, for example, or a semester abroad, you kind of fear to lose some of the academics during the semester, whereas here the program is so integrated. There's no repetition. You're not losing anything. So it's one program, but in 2 different countries.
Hmm.
And can you actually just give us the places where the campuses are, Francesco?
Yes, I think Laura gave a very good overview, and I like she answered that way because this is exactly the feeling they get the students. So the students can choose among the 5 campuses. If it's the first semester, is in local language. If it's the second semester, is in English. So they can actually select a London, Madrid in English track, so all English, if they only speak one foreign language. Then about the partner, we have 4 partners, one is in India, in Gurgaon, MDI. One is in Monterrey, Mexico, Tec de Monterrey. One is in Russia, Moscow, High School of Economics in Moscow. And another one is in Bangkok, Thailand, AIT, okay? The students are completely free, they can decide where to study. If they decided to study in Europe, they pick one of our 5 campuses. If they decided to add an international experience, which is pretty much in the BRICS, fast growing countries, they can select one of our partners. And the only thing is that they need to have very clear ideas before the program starts, because they need to take the decision at the beginning. Then they cannot change it. It's not because we are mean. It's just because from an organizational point of view and also dealing with the partners, we cannot have people changing their mind every other day. So that's the only thing, but you're completely free to choose the campus you want. It will be the same academic experience, but it will be a completely international experience.
So would you say that most people have their campuses selected by the time they start that first day?
By the time they start the first day, yes. During the application, once they get the approval of their application, so that they get into the program, they decide in which campus they want to study. They might gonna change something before the program starts, but then by the time the program starts, they cannot change it anymore.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to answer the next one. Laura, what makes you disappointed in the program? What was a good surprise? So disappointing, let me think. There maybe the fact that we don't really get to know the other students of the MEB who are not doing one of the semesters the same as we do. So there is, for example, no way of getting to know the people in person who do, for example, in my case, Madrid or Torino, which is a pity, I think. It would be nice to get to know them a bit more, but I mean, that's still, since we moved there, we get to know some of them. Otherwise, maybe on an academic point, there are some courses which are taught a bit too in a way that you have a teacher in front who's talking and you take notes. Maybe that's really French, and I love interaction. I need to participate in a course. So this might be the only disappointments I have encountered in this program. The nice surprise, well, definitely the different group works and what it brings to you personally, and also and how far it prepares you to the professional life later on. We in nearly every class we have to do some group work, some group presentations, and it's really helpful. Another very good surprise was the preparation to finding an internship or a job later on. So I remember when we started the program, we had the first 1-2 weeks were really exclusively about collective interviews, individual interviews, how to improve your CV, how to use a network that either we have or that the school is giving us. And I have never received this kind of tools before. And I was really positively surprised of how far they help us and accompany us in the search of our future job or internship. And in general, there are many other tools given by the university, such as there's a service for relations with companies and so on, who help us prepare interviews for when we have one, or the networking system. And so it's really amazing.
Do you think the fact that the program is only 1 year might actually be a limitation in itself when it comes to getting to know different people on different campuses?
Maybe, but since we are always together, it's really intense, so we get to know each other in those, either in the year we spend together or in the semester we spend together. And well, we knew from the beginning it was a 1-year program, and I think for many that was also a choice, an explicit choice to only do 1 year instead of 2, because they either already have studied for 5 years, or because they have worked and want to go back into the professional world. So I think 1 year is not a big problem.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Francesco. Is there any sort of one common complaint from students that comes up from time to time along the lines of what Laura mentioned before?
Yes, one complaint is the workload. Sometimes we exaggerate because we give these students a lot to do, and this because it's a 1-year program, but the amount of hours is really a lot. And while the students are going through this, they complain. After, they can value the experience, the workload, the pressure, etc., etc. But I do agree that sometimes it's too much. Of course, some professors are different from the others, and some students always do compare. But nevertheless, everyone can find its own best professor, best way to learn. So we need to have some differences. I do agree that it's a pity that our 250 students do not get the chance to meet all together during the program, because the MEB is one program, we are one school, but we have classes in 5 + 4, 9 different countries. So that's the tricky part. And but we're working on that with our dean in order to get some, some support and to organize in the future some seminars in which we can gather the students together. Because this is another value. As I said, networking is a value. We want our students to have networking, so they need to meet together. There are some extracurricular activity that the school organized. Just to mention the two that are organized in Italy, so that there are hundreds organized in Paris and London. We organize ski events now in March, a regatta, where students from all over the campuses and alumni can gather. In the regatta, we have more than 500, 600 people. The ski events is 150. So the school is active to get these students together, because having 5 campuses is very good. It's a great opportunity, great life experience, but we need to manage the fact that students don't get to know each other. So this is one of the complaints, and we're working hard. But
Great.
But nevertheless, we listen a lot. We get complaints every day, because in the first lesson, in the first day, I always say, guys, you need to give us feedbacks, constructive feedbacks. So since I said that, the students, are allowed to come to me every day with feedbacks, which are kind of constructive complaints, and which we take. Okay.
Great. Let's move along.
So, what is the title released by the completion of the 1-year MEB? Is it a Master 1 or 2? Or can it be considered like an English MSc? Thank you. Okay, this is a highly technical question. And I'm glad that someone, is asking this. Let me put it in the simplest way. The MEB alone is a master degree delivered by ESCP. Okay, so since most of our students already have a Master of Science, you can compare it to the kind of degree you get when you do an MBA. It's not a Master 1, it's not a Master 2, it's not an MSc. But we can add additional degree that you can look at that like a double degree process. If you study in Paris, or if you already have 210 ECTS and 2 years of working experience, you can actually get a Grade Master, which is a Master 2, and a Master of Science, an English Master of Science. If you don't have a Master of Science degree, just a bachelor, and you want to get a Master of Science, you can actually add to the MEB program, which is 2 semesters, a 3rd semester in Berlin, do a master's thesis, and then you can get a German MSc, which is a European MSc. Okay? So you're adding something to the MEB, but you can get an MSc. It's not mandatory, it's an extra. The same thing applies to our partners. If you decide to go and study in Monterrey, you can get the Master of Science delivered by our Monterrey partner, Tec de Monterrey. So in reality, depending to your situation, to where you study, and to what you want to get, you can actually get the MSc.
And that's all facilitated via ESCP. It's not, you don't have to transition back to the second level at Monterrey, for example.
No. It's all totally integrated in the program, because they are dual degree. Just in the case of the German MSc, for students with bachelor, they need to add a semester. In all the other cases, they don't need to add anything. Okay, so there is this possibility to get kind of Bologna. Maybe some of the students, some kind of the Bologna title. Okay.
So if I get just the classic MEB and for the 1-year program that you mentioned before, and I go back to the United States to look for a job, am I going to be considered on the same level as someone who's done a 2-year MBA program at a top-tier school internationally, or is it going to have to be something that I explain in an interview?
To be completely honest with you, the MEB is not an MBA, so the title is different, and this is the first answer. The second answer is the MEB is like any other master program that top business school in the US are delivering, like a master in international global marketing. Just that it is in European business. So at that level, it is comparable. Then if you hold a bachelor degree and you want to add to that a European Master of Science, then I suggest you to take this extra semester, which is actually 2.5 months, by the way. It's not 6 months in Berlin. Of course, the old program is going to be a little bit longer, but you can get the degree. It depends, from a company perspective, it's not going to make a big difference. But if in the future you want to apply for a PhD, then you need a Master of Science.
Okay.
So, this is really up to you. The good news is that the decision to take the Master of Science or not has to be made in March. So after 6 months that you are in the program. So you can, see if you need it, if you think of, taking the route of becoming an academic and taking a PhD or not, So that's the only decision you don't have to take up front.
Okay, great.
Okay, maybe Laura, do you want to answer this?
Yeah, of course. So the question is, do you really think a one-year program is enough to get management skills? I'm studying mechanics at university. Well, I honestly think it is, because the courses, we get a knowledge of general management. So we have a lot of different courses. It goes from, we start with some statistic courses, and then we have strategy, operational management, there are marketing courses, of course, finance, etc., etc. So the aim of this course is to give you a tool for general management. And I think that in this 1 year, it's definitely enough. But Francesco mentioned before that the workload is really intense. So, of course, you work a lot, but thanks to working a lot, you also get everything you need to know in 1 year.
So it's one thing to study management, obviously. It's another thing to actually have experience managing. You mentioned a lot, different small groups and different projects that you worked on together.
Yeah.
Was there typically someone who would take the lead, who would actually kind of get that management experience? Or was it kind of everybody working together? Could you expand on that a little bit?
I think it depends on the group dynamics. In general, especially in the consultancy projects, it is advised that there is a project leader who then overlooks, sees that everybody's doing the work and that everything works smoothly. But then it also really depends on the works, on the kind of project. Sometimes when we have a lot in one course, in one same group, we might divide the work because it's easier to handle the workload this way. But in general, everybody kind of gets the chance to experience the management position in the group if the group works well, and I think it's really interesting.
Okay.
Maybe I can add one few things. I can talk from statistics, okay? And so there are, since the guy that was asking the question is a mechanic engineer or something like that, I have many examples of engineers that they study a couple of years and they then enter the MEB, and now they've been hired by McKinsey. So you don't get hired by McKinsey if you are not solid in terms of the management knowledge and also the managerial experience and business experience, okay? So yes, it is enough, because our goal is to get you business ready at a managerial level. Of course, not at top management level, which should be the focus of a real MBA. Because to me, an MBA is something you do when you have 5, 6, 7 year experience, as it used to be many years ago. Now you can see on the market MBA offered to fresh junior people, which shouldn't be the case. So it is enough. The statistics are very clear on what our students and alumni are doing it. It's a lot of work, but this is what we aim to. And all the training that we offer to our students in order to face interviews in a multinational company, consultancy firm, investment banking, which are all case-based with assessment center, etc., etc.
Now, this is the European business, the Masters of European Business. So is there something specific about your program in this 1 year that is relevant to to working in Europe, or is it lessons that could be applied, on an international level?
Okay, this is a very good question because it's what is European business? How can you apply the experience outside Europe, etc., etc. In reality, the master is in European business because it started at ESCP Europe and delivered in the 5 campuses of ESCP Europe in Europe. Then we added the partners, which are all international partners, and made this program truly an international program. Still, the focus is European because we want our students to study management, so the content is not going to be different from the content they might get in the US, but in a truly European environment. So we add a lot of European flavor. We try to select also European case studies, although our students get the Harvard Business School case study, American case study. So in reality, it is an added value for US, let me say, students that wants to apply. But if he wants to work for a US multinational company in the European headquarter or European country, or vice versa, maybe for a European guy that wants to study international business, so maybe he decided to do 1 semester in Europe, the 2nd semester in Mexico, and gets to the US, Mexico and US are close, or to South America, Brazil, or something like that. So it's not a limitation, the European things. It's more the how we do things, but the content is the same.
Okay.
So, do you offer scholarship? When should we apply? Possible to get an answer before joining the MEB? Yes, we offer scholarships, a lot of scholarships. The first kind of scholarship we give, and to which all our applicants can actually apply, are a scholarship based on merit and on financial needs. In total, this scholarship can account to 30% of the fees, and these are offered to every students that apply to the master. Then, since every country has different legislation and different possibility in terms of scholarship, we also leverage that. For instance, just to give an example, in Italy we have 2 institutions that gives scholarship to students that either are Italian or will study in Italy, and we can get up to 50%. Again, it's merit and financial needs. Financial needs is more important, let me say, than the merit. Not because the merit is not, we don't want to value merit, but of course we don't want that a good student with very important financial needs cannot enter the program. Okay, and then the same thing apply to students that want to study in Germany with the French Franco-Allemand, okay, foundation that gives scholarship. There are specific scholarship for Monterrey. So the amount of scholarship we can collect is quite significant. And I think in terms of percentage, we are about 20-30% of the students.
20-30% receiving scholarships?
Yes, because
you mentioned that 30% of people are eligible, or was it 30% of their tuition is eligible?
No, okay. The scholarship to which everyone can apply, which is a scholarship that is given by ESCP Europe, is based on merit and need, and in total can account for 30% of the fees. Okay? And that one is, if I remember, something like 10% of the students can get that.
Okay.
The other, with all the other scholarships that I mentioned, which are local scholarships, so delivered by local institution, I mean institution in which the campus are based, if we add up all the scholarship, we reach 30%, which is huge, which is a lot. I mean, I went through some statistic of scholarship. Going about 20% is unbelievable.
Now, which campus is best for scholarships? Is there a clear one where one country's government gives more assistance than another, or?
But I think, not because I'm from the Turin campus, but I think in Turin we did a good job. So we have good scholarship, but again, it's for students that either are Italian or they will be studying in Italy.
Do you have a scholarship, Laura?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
No.
And when do the students apply? They've made their application. Do they get their confirmation and then they can apply, or do they have to do it concurrently?
Okay, that's another very important question. The first thing is when they do apply, they can ask for the scholarship. And when they ask for the scholarship, we need all the financial information. We need to know all the household income, etc., etc. They must confirm their seat, because if they don't confirm their seat, they will not be entering in the process of getting the scholarship. So they need to pay the deposit, which is €2,000. It's not huge. Anyway, the maximum of, at the very best, the scholarship will cover 50% of the fees at the very best, which are some scholarship. Otherwise, it's 30%.
So they apply at the same time. Then
they pay the deposit. So they confirm their. We need to get the confirmation
after they're accepted.
Yes, and then before the beginning of the courses, they know if they will get the full scholarship.
So they can't know the scholarship before they pay the deposit. They have to accept the seat first.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Having said that, in a completely unofficial way, since the documentation for the scholarship is sent together with the application form, if their household income is reasonably below some certain threshold, we can say that the percentage of probability to get the scholarship. But this is it's not official. We can say someone is if he's below or above the threshold, so that he already knows.
Okay.
I'd like to work in marketing management. The MEB program can provide this specialization, or do I need to choose a more specialized program? Okay, first thing, the MEB is not a specialized master. It's not a master in marketing management. Although marketing management is pretty broad, So if this guy wants to work, or this girl wants to work in marketing management, I would say yes, the MEB can provide this level of specialization. If you want to work in online marketing, we focus on social media, then it is a little bit different, okay? So the answer is yes.
So how much does marketing, what big of a role does marketing play? And then maybe, Laura, you could mention, is that part of the coursework?
Yeah, so there are some compulsory courses in marketing, of course. I mean, right now we do have a course in marketing management, for the matter. And then in the second semester, we can choose between two different concentrations, so one in marketing and one in finance. So if this person is particularly interested in marketing, she just chooses the marketing concentration, and then I think there's a pretty extensive study then on it.
And then someone like this, potentially, who would like to do a consultancy project, is that also, is marketing play a factor in that, or is it more of this kind of auditing study that you mentioned before with the previous examples?
Well, what I just can say from different projects we had, there were some marketing projects in it. I mean, it always depends on what projects are available in the semester. But in this particular semester, for example, there was one group working for Bacardi Martini on doing some marketing research. My project was also a bit about communication marketing, so this is also something. And this is definitely a good way also to experience and more marketing if there's a project, of course.
So you mentioned before the ability to continue on to a Master's of Science in some of the other universities. Could this be the foundation for someone who wanted to end up getting a Master's specifically in marketing or online marketing or something more specific? Would the MEB be appropriate for them?
To be honest with you, I don't think that students that is getting the MEB degree will need further specializations, because maybe that kind of specialization can be obtained by working, because they get enough broad management skills and foundation to any function of a company. That what you get from specialized master is, of course, it's more, but sometimes you can get that kind of experience by working. And then if someone wants to take the Master of Science with us and wants to do the master thesis in online marketing, of course, he has 3 months to work on that. He's going to be working with a professor who is going to be his tutor for the master thesis, and then he can do some further research and study. Just to add something, just on the marketing. In marketing, we have 3 modules, okay? Marketing management, buying behavior, new product development, and then the marketing elective. Most of the company projects are either on marketing, market analysis, which are things that students can do, it's desk research, okay? Number crunching for marketing, or there are basics things on the finance audit side, cannot be rocket science, derivatives, things, but business plan analysis and things like that. So if normally students either lean towards marketing or towards finance, this is the broad thing.
Okay.
And then there are people that don't want to really specialize. They say, okay, I want to be a general manager, so I want to experience a little bit of everything. One thing, just to give another answer on marketing, some of our students do apply for the Google Challenge, for instance. So this is all extracurricular activities. So they create a group, they have a professor as a tutor, officially registered in the Google Challenge program, and then they actually work on that, and there is an international ranking. So also the extracurricular activity are important to gain the experience and the knowledge that our students want for their future professional work.
Well, let's get to some of the good stuff here. The next question.
Okay, I think this is for me. Okay, what are the perspectives of employment after graduation? Average salary. Okay, very simple. I go by heart. I think that 81% of our students are employed within 4 months after graduation, 50 something before graduation. Average salary was in the last survey we did 41,300
euros.
Something like that. Euros. And so I would say pretty much good. I give my own statistics. I don't know personally any students that I recruited or studied with me that is unemployed. Maybe there are some students that are not working by now, so that the 20% that are not working after graduation, because maybe they decided to go for a PhD or to do some other studies. So to be honest with you, this is a program very, very strong in terms of employment after the degree.
Now, does that vary by campus? Is it does the average salary, is it a little higher in Germany than it would be in Spain, for example?
Yes. Let me put it a little better. It's not by campus. It's by place where you go to work. Because there's no constraint on our students to where they want to go for the mandatory internship and for their job after. So they can study wherever they want among our 5 campuses plus 4 partners. They can go for the internship wherever they want. But yes, salaries in investment banking in London is higher than a salary in fast-moving consumer goods in France or Italy, although they are all salaries above average. Okay, so our students normally get a salary above average. 41,000 for a students with 2-year working experience. You can ask your talking with the guys. You can ask your friends what they earn. I think it's above average, and this is right because you are investing money for this master, so you need to have a return on investment, which is something you will learn in our. I think it's fundamentals of finance. The first semester you will learn this.
Now, can you give us an example of a couple of companies that people have recently been hired to?
Yes, in consulting, McKinsey, BCG, fast-moving consumer goods, Unilever, Ferrero is hiring a lot of people, and then maybe Vodafone is hiring a lot of students. Google is hiring. Google and Amazon are hiring a lot. because they are expanding their operations in Europe. Credit Suisse, let me think about other investment banking, Goldman Sachs, you know. Investment banking area is very shaky right now. So they're hiring, then they are firing, then they're hiring again. But nevertheless, you know, they really target our students. BNP Paribas is hiring many students.
Well, so it seems like a pretty wide variety of some of the big largest companies in the world.
Yes. So. Just to give you two numbers. A few weeks ago, there was the job fair in Paris. I think there were 100, how many companies?
Oh, there were a lot, 100, 120.
120, more than 100, you know. And in Turin, we will have the company fair, the job fair on the 12th of February, and we will have 35 companies. So, and every campus has the same thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get here down to some of the details of the process of actual selection, application, and things before we wrap up our time here. The question is, what is the process? So I'm going to kind of break that up into a couple of smaller questions. How many students do you select? Does it vary by campus? How many applicants? Just the kind of the background, I guess, for you, Francesco. Some of the background about applying, numbers, things like that.
I will answer, you know, like with some sort of sales funnel, if you want. We have 900 or 950 applicants, okay? So what is an applicant? Someone that goes online, click on apply, gets into something that is called top apply, fill in all the information in the application online, which is CV, background, reference letters and certificate pictures, stuff like that, and click submit. These are the applicants. Out of those applicants, some of them will be invited for the interview, which we call a final round, which means that if they already have a GMAT, which we suggest, especially for international students, so that their application will be quicker, or they have a TOEFL, they don't need to take any other test. The final round will be only focusing on an interview. If they don't have a GMAT or a TOEFL or whatever language test, they will have to take at our campuses, any of the campuses, an SHL numeric and verbal test, and a written and oral language test.
For the language of that campus?
For the language of study.
Okay.
Okay. All the campuses are able to handle interviews in the local language and in English. So basically, students from all over the places, they can, the non-student from Norway can apply to the Italian campus, maybe because they are studying in Italy for some Erasmus, I don't know. And we can do the interview in English and all the testing in English.
How many interviews per season, per semester?
Okay, so from the 900 we go, I'm going by heart, but I think we go definitely to only half are invited.
Okay, for the interview.
Because we do some selection of people that don't have the background that we want. They're not solid in previous international experience. They're not solid with the language. It makes no sense that we invite people and we have people waste time. And so we suggest, and maybe they really don't want to do a master like the MEB, but this is rare. Normally, our applicants understands what the MEB is about.
Sure, and then how many people actually get accepted from that interview process?
Definitely, I think it's 30%.
30%, okay. Great, is there...
After this selection that we do.
Okay, cool. We're almost to the end of the interview here. This has been very nice. Is there anything that you'd like to add for the people watching all around the world? A final impression for ESCP?
But maybe Laura, very quick one.
Well, I love this program and I love the ESCP, so I can only just recommend it because of the international aspect, because of the quality of education that we get there, and because of the network and the help that we have to find our job later on. So just amazing program.
Francesco,
just one thing. As I said at the beginning, I teach in Master in Management, Master in European Business, and Executive MBA. So different level of experience and age. I think that the MEB students are very, very good students because they come from different backgrounds. The dynamic in class is overwhelming. You know, after 3 hours of class, I feel like I was boxing for 10 hours. And but this is good, you know, because the dynamic in class, the students I teach to are very, very good students with very high will. high potential. So this is the kind of applicants we want. This is the kind of students we want.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you.